Hello, Rebecca Wolf. Hello, Tracy. Welcome back in. Thank you, Rose. TikTok. I got 3 in a pack and I absolutely love them. I didn't feel like wearing a crown tonight. I'm going to go crownless. Caveman, thank you for the follow. Caveman, do you like scary stories? Hello, Lucy. This is Halloween week, right? Yes. Have you decorated? Are you excited? I'm so happy that Halloween is falling on a Friday for once. That'll be nice. It's been a long time. As you are coming in, let me introduce myself. My name is Bryn Morgan. I'm a horror author. I am also a teller of scary stories, paranormal, ghost, true crime, serial unalivers, urban legends, cryptids, what else? Folklore. You name it, I cover it. Aliens. There was one more. Oh. Appalachian horror. Tonight we'll cover that. If you've been following the story of Cherry Hill, you know that it takes place in the mountains, the highlands of North Carolina. And there are many, many things in the Appalachian Mountains, as we know. Have you ever driven through and had someone tell you the rules of Appalachia? I have. Close your blinds and do not open them until daylight. 2, if you hear something, no, you didn't. If you see something, no, you didn't. If you see something walking in your yard, don't go outside and investigate it. Oh, yes. And one more. If you hear someone call your name, no, you didn't. Follow those rules and you will survive Appalachia. My name is Bryn Morgan, but here in the night realm, I am the Night Queen, and I tell you a bedtime story. Welcome. This is a safe, warm, loving, welcoming environment. There is no judgment here. I want you to come in for the next couple of hours and relax. Let all the cares of Monday go and listen to Cherry Hill. Now, we do have a way of how we do things here, don't we? My night dwellers know that. Do you? Let's do it then. Lower your lights. Lock your doors. Light a candle to chase those shadows away. Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket to avoid the chills that are about to crawl up your spine. And let's begin. Music good? Hello, Armand. Hello, Kimmy. 3 people, let me know if the music is good for me, if you would. Karen, thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. When we last left Cherry Hill, Graham had found Maggie at the foot of the tree near the Black Veil. He thought she was dead, but she wasn't. But what she encountered at the tree was the sound of children calling her name, and a shadowed figure standing in the distance, staring at her from beneath a cloak. The hood shaded the face. She couldn't see who it was. She went back to Graham's, and there they became more than friends. We'll take up with that part and then continue the reading. In the early morning hours, as gray dawn light filtered through Graham's bedroom windows, that fire between he and Maggie ignited yet again. They came together slower this time, tender and intimate. Graham's hands reverent against her pale ivory skin as he moved with her. Maggie's red hair spread out across his pillow, her green eyes locked on his blue-green. He pulled her closer, his mouth at her ear, and then he whispered it, rough and low, his Scottish birth thick with desire. Maggie's entire body went rigid. Her eyes flew open, her breath catching in her throat. But Graham didn't seem to notice. He was so lost in the moment, lost in her, his movements not faltering. She lay there beneath him, his entire body covering her, and hers tense as a piano string. Her heart suddenly pounding for entirely different reasons, her mind racing. Had he just called her Kenna? How did he know that name? She knew, absolutely knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that she had not told anyone about her birth name. She had told no one about the name that Aileen McLeod had given her. She never told anyone in Cherry Hill as far as she could remember. It was her secret, buried in Aileen's journals, a name from a life that she'd never lived. But she said nothing. She forced herself to breathe, to move with him, to finish what they'd started, even as her mind spun with confusion and something very, very close to fear. When it was over, Graham pulled her close, pressing a kiss to her temple, murmuring soft words in Gaelic that she didn't understand. Within minutes, his breathing evened out, and he fell asleep. Maggie lay awake in his arms a long time after, staring at the ceiling as dawn broke over Cherry Hill. Kenna, her birth name, the name that Aileen McLeod had given her before Louise and Henry adopted her and renamed her Margaret. Maggie. She'd only discovered it when she'd gone through Aileen's papers after inheriting Cherry Hill House. It was written in her birth mother's hand in an old journal. I leave everything to my daughter, Kenna McLeod. She hadn't told anyone. She knew that she hadn't told anyone. Had she? Had she mentioned it to Graham? To Chloe? Not a single person in Cherry Hill knew that name. Right? So how the hell had Graham said it? When morning came fully, Maggie took a shower. And when Graham stirred, she was already dressed. She stood at Graham's kitchen counter, looking out over the Black Pass, the valley with Cherry Hill nestled in it. Her arms were wrapped around herself, staring out at the view of the mountains, but not really seeing them. Connor padded over to her, whining softly, sensing her distress. It's okay, boy. It's okay. Go lay down. Graham emerged from the bedroom then, wearing a robe. His hair was wet. He pulled a fresh shirt on, his hair still damp from the shower. He smiled when he saw her, that warm, open smile that made her feel safe. Just a few hours ago, until he uttered one word. Kenna. He stood behind her. Morning, Mulcreed. I was thinking we could have breakfast before. Maggie did not turn to him. I need to get back to my house. I need to get back to Dune. I've got things that I've got to do. Her voice was flat and distant. Graham stopped, his smile fading. Maggie? I should go. I have things to do before the hearing tomorrow. I don't have time for this. Okay, just what about a cup of coffee? He studied her face, concern creeping into his handsome expression. Are you all right? I asked you a question. Are you all right, Maggie? I'm fine. She wouldn't meet his eyes. Well, you certainly don't seem fine. He moved closer. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I just need to go home. Can you take me home? I can take you home. Thank you. Graham walked back to his bedroom and grabbed his coat out of his closet. Something was wrong. He could sense it. He came back out and walked down the hallway. Maggie was still sitting at the kitchen counter. Maggie. He reached for her hand, but she pulled away. Can you tell me what happened between just a few hours ago and now? You won't even hardly look at me. What's wrong, lass? Talk to me. What's wrong? She finally looked at him, and he could see something cold in her green eyes, something hurt and wary and guarded. I'm fine, Graham. I need some space. Space? He looked genuinely confused now, almost wounded. Last night we were... Maggie, what's changed? She grabbed her bag from the chair, slinging it over her shoulder. Can you just take me home, please? Graham stood there, his jaw tight, clearly trying to understand what had gone wrong. Of course. Let me get my keys. The drive down the mountain was silent and tense. Graham kept glancing over at Maggie, wondering what had transpired from them making love early in the morning to now. It's as if she wanted nothing to do with him. He was trying to understand where he'd gone wrong, but Maggie stared out the window. He tried to reach for her hand. She moved closer to the passenger's side door. Her body language completely closed off. He tried twice to start a conversation with her, but she gave him one-word answers until he stopped trying. When they pulled up to Cherry Hill House, Maggie had the door open before the truck even fully stopped. Maggie! Maggie, wait! Thanks for the ride. She grabbed her bag. But will you just tell me what I did wrong, Maggie? I don't understand. Graham's frustration finally broke through, his accent thickening. What did I do, lass? Maggie stopped, her hand on the door handle. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then she turned to look at him, and her eyes were hard. Why did you call me Kenna? Graham's brow furrowed. What? This morning, in bed, you called me Kenna. Her voice was controlled, but there was an edge to it. Why? He stared at her, genuinely baffled. I don't know what you mean, Maggie. Don't lie to me, Graham. I'm not lying. He shook his head. I didn't call you. I don't even know what that means. Kenna, I've never heard that name before. You whispered it in my ear. Her voice cracked slightly. When we were, you said, Kenna, clear as day. Graham's expression shifted from confusion to something like alarm. Maggie, I swear to you, on my mother's grave, I don't remember saying that. I would never. He ran a hand through his hair. Who's Kenna? She looked at him for a long moment, searching his face for any sign of deception. But all she saw was honest confusion and growing concern. I don't know, she said quietly. That's what scares me. Maggie, you're confusing me. What scares you? Who Kenna is. Then why are you so... Because no one knows that name, Graham. Her voice rose, the fear breaking through. I've never told anyone. Not you, not Chloe, not anyone in this town. Then where did it come from? Graham looked genuinely disturbed now. Maggie, if I said it, I don't know why. I swear to God, I don't remember. It's my birth name. The words came out flat and final. The name that Aileen McLeod gave me before I was adopted. Before I became Maggie. I only found it in her journals after I inherited the house. So you tell me, Graham, how did you know that name? The color drained from Graham's face. Jesus Christ, Maggie. Yeah? Her laugh was bitter. So either you're lying to me or something else is going on and I don't know which scares me more. Graham reached for her, but she flinched back. The hurt that flashed across his face was immediate and raw. Maggie, I'm telling you the truth. On a stack of Bibles, I don't remember saying it. I would never. His voice cracked. Please, you have to believe me, Maggie. But Maggie was already climbing out of the truck. Her movements jerky and tense. I need to go. Maggie! She slammed the truck door and walked toward her house without looking back, even as she heard him call her name one more time. She unlocked the door. Doom was at the door immediately when she opened it, meowing frantically. But even his familiar presence couldn't chase away the cold dread that was settling in her stomach. Behind her, she heard Graham's truck idling in the driveway for a long moment before finally reluctantly pulling away. Maggie locked the door, leaned against it, and closed her eyes. She could not get his voice out of her mind. Kenna. The name Aileen McLeod had given her, the name written in her birth mother's journals, the name she'd never spoken aloud to anyone, not even to herself most days. She buried it, left it in those old pages where it belonged. But Graham had said it, had whispered it in her ear like an endearment, like he'd known her by that name all along. And if he truly didn't remember saying it, if he was telling the truth about that, then something had spoken through him. And that terrified her. Something that knew who she already was. Outside, thunder rumbled over the black pass, and Maggie felt the weight of something watching, waiting. The darkness Chloe had warned her about. It was closer than she thought. And it knew her name. Maggie stood with her back pressed against the door. Finally, she heard the crunch of gravel as Graham pulled away, the sound growing fainter until it disappeared completely. Only then did she let out the breath that she'd been holding. The medallion against her chest was glowing, a bright white. She could feel the heat of it through her shirt, could see the faint light emanating from beneath the fabric. It pulsed in rhythm with her racing heartbeat, warm and insistent. She felt horrible, sick, confused, and angry. Dune appeared at her feet, purring loudly, swirling in and out around her ankles in that way cats do when they're trying to comfort or calm you. Around and around, his soft fur brushing against her jeans, his purr vibrating through her legs. "Stop it," she muttered, tears stinging her eyes. But Dune continued, weaving figure eights around her ankles, his purr growing louder and more insistent. "Dune, stop!" Still, he didn't stop. "I said stop!" The words came out sharp and harsh, and she jerked away from him. Dune froze mid-step, his tail straight up in the air. He sat down abruptly and stared at her with those big orange eyes, unblinking, intense, as if he were trying to read her, trying to gauge what she was thinking, trying to understand what was happening to her and what was changing in her. Maggie's hands were shaking. She looked down at her familiar, at the hurt and concern in those luminous eyes, and felt a fresh wave of shame wash over her. "I'm sorry, Dune. I'm sorry, boy." But Dune took off up the stairs. She couldn't stay down there. She couldn't stand in the entryway one more second, feeling like the walls were closing in on her. She moved up the stairs, her legs feeling heavy, each step an effort. She felt like crying as she had not cried for a very long time. She had been numb since the attack, numb since James cheating on her, numb since him taking Curly away. But now, she could feel it. The tears coming on. The pressure building behind her eyes was almost unbearable. What was she thinking? What was she thinking? Sleeping with Graham. What in the hell had she been thinking? She'd let her guard down. She'd let herself feel safe. She had let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, she could have something normal, something good. What a damn fool she was. And now this. Now, Kenna. She reached the bedroom. Her bedroom now, though it had been Aileen's once, and collapsed onto the bed, covering her eyes with her hands. The medallion burned against her chest, the heat intensifying. She grabbed it. She pulled at it, trying to rip it off, but it wouldn't release. She heard the soft thump of Dune jumping up onto the bed. felt him nestle against her side, his warm body pressed close, a peace offering. And "I'm here" gesture. Tears stung her eyelids, threatening to spill over. And then they did. They spilled. They spilled like the black veil, the water cascading over the rocks, and they wouldn't stop. "I'm such a stupid woman, Dune," she said softly, her voice breaking. "So stupid." What was she thinking? What was she going to do now? What was going on with her? And then the thought that had been gnawing at her since they left Graham's cabin this morning. The thought that had been trying to push away. She had tried to push it away. How had she known that the dog's name was Connor? Graham had never told her. She was certain of it. Yet when they'd been at his cabin, she'd known. She'd just known. The name had been in her head like it had always been there. Just like Graham had somehow known to call her Kenna. The medallion flared hotter against her skin, a deep ember now, and Maggie gasped, sitting up abruptly. She pulled it out from under her shirt, and in the dim light of the bedroom, it was definitely pulsing. A soft, pulsing amber light that seemed to come from deep within the stone. She screamed out. "Why in the hell is the medallion burning my chest now?" she demanded of the empty room. "What does this mean?" No answer came. Just the sound of rain beginning to patter against the windows and the distant rumble of thunder over the black pass. The frustration and fear and confusion built inside her until she couldn't contain it anymore. "What does this mean?" she screamed, clutching the medallion, trying to break it, her voice raw and desperate. "Tell me, Mother! Tell me! What does this all mean? What am I?" The words echoed in the bedroom, bouncing off the walls, filling the space with her anguish. The medallion pulsed once, bright and hot, and then went completely dark. The sudden absence of its light left the room feeling even darker than before. Maggie sat there on Aileen's bed, in Aileen's house, wearing Aileen's medallion, breathing hard, tears now streaming freely down her face. She cried for everything. She cried for the attack. She cried for James and what he had done to her. She cried for missing Curly. She cried for her birth mother. She cried for Louise. She cried for everyone, for her sister. She cried for Graham. Doom pressed closer against her, his purr a steady vibration, an anchor. And if even closer, that's what he got. So close to her. His purr a steady vibration, an anchor. "What am I, Dune?" she whispered again, quieter this time. Broken. Outside, the storm grew stronger. Lightning flashed, illuminating the room for a brief moment, and in that flash, Maggie could swear she saw a figure standing in the corner. But when darkness returned, there was nothing there. Just her and Dune and the questions that had no answers. And the terrible growing certainty that something inside of her was waking up. Something that knew things that it shouldn't. Something that told her it wasn't Aileen's legacy. It was something dark. Exhaustion finally claimed her. Maggie fell into sleep like falling into dark water, swift and complete. Dune curled against her side, his warmth the only anchor to the waking world. And then the dream began. She was in darkness, complete and absolute. But she wasn't alone. She knew that. Someone was with her, close. So close that she could feel the heat radiating from his body, could hear his breathing, slow, steady, and deliberate. Hands that bound her in the darkness, large hands, warm hands. They traced up her arms, over her shoulders, and then slowly, achingly, slowly, began to unbutton her shirt. One button, two, three. Thunder rumbled in the distance, deep and resonant, making the darkness pulse and throb around them. The shirt fell open. And then he was there, chest pressed to hers, skin to skin, his heart beating against hers in perfect rhythm. The heat of him was overwhelming, intoxicating. She could feel every plane of his body, every muscle, every breath. His hand came up, fingers threading through her hair, gentle but possessive. He swept her hair aside, exposing the curve of her neck, the vulnerable place where the scar lived. That weapon that had left that scar there. And his lips found that spot. The kiss was soft, reverent, demanding, hot. Maggie's breath caught and a sound escaped her, half gasp, half moan. Her body arched toward him of its own accord, aching, needing, burning. His mouth moved along her neck, painfully slow, tracing up to her ear, and then he whispered, his voice rough and low. Her true name. In the darkness, thunder crashed, closer now, shaking the very air around them. His hands moved lower, exploring, claiming, and she was breathing hard, her fingers digging into his shoulders. But she couldn't see his face. No matter how she tried, His features remained shadowed, even with the lightning around them obscured, as if the darkness itself was hiding him from her. He reached down, his touch making her gasp and arch and ache with the need so fierce it bordered on pain. Then he was lifting her, strong arms scooping her up as if she weighed nothing, cradling her against his chest. She could feel him, all of him, against her body as he carried her through the darkness. Could feel his desire, his want, his possession of her. He laid her down on something soft then. A bed? The ground? She couldn't tell. All she knew was the weight of him as he settled over her between her thighs, his body pressing her down, surrounding her, consuming her. The medallion at her throat began to glow, bright amber light cutting through the darkness, illuminating nothing but the pendant itself, pulsing like a heartbeat. He captured her lips then, and the kiss was fierce, claiming, deep. His tongue swept into her mouth, tasting her, branding her. She kissed him back desperately, her hands in his hair, but still, she couldn't see his face. Lightning flashed, brilliant and white and blinding. And then everything changed. Suddenly, she was standing on a mountainside. Maggie knew where she was. Although she'd never been in the mountains, she knew that she was in the Black Pass. She knew it instinctively, though she'd never been this deep into it. But it was the same feeling as when she saw the tree and the warning signs. She was in the Black Pass. She was wearing a black dress, off the shoulder, long and flowing and old-fashioned. She judged it to be from the 1600s or maybe the 1700s from the style of the gown, like something from another century. The fabric whipped around her legs in the wind, clinging to her body, heavy with moisture as the rain drenched her. Rain lashed at her face like blades. Thunder rolled continuously, so loud it vibrated in her bones. "No," she gasped, spinning around. "No! What? Where?" But there was no one. Just the mountain and the storm and the darkness pressing in from all sides. Then she heard a voice. "Run!" The thought came from nowhere and everywhere at once, urgent and terrified. "Run, Kenna! Run!" She ran. She crashed through trees and brush, branches tearing at her dress, at her skin, at her hair. The black fabric caught on thorns and brambles, but she ripped free and continued running, her bare feet slipping on wet rocks and mud. Lightning split the sky, once, twice, 3 times, illuminating her path in stark white flashes. Thunder rolled immediately, deafening and relentless. Behind her, she could hear something. Footsteps. Breathing. Whispers. Something above her. She couldn't tell, but it was coming closer. The wind seemed to whisper, She screamed, but the wind tore the word from her mouth. She burst through a line of trees and skidded to a stop. The ground ended. She stood at the edge of a cliff, a sheer drop into nothing. Far, far below, she could see rocks jutting up like teeth, waiting to catch her, to break her. Thunder rolled directly overhead, so close and loud it felt like the mountain itself was roaring. She teetered on the edge, arms windmilling, trying to catch her balance, when hands grabbed her from behind. Strong hands, pushing her back from the precipice, or was it pushing her toward it? She couldn't tell because the wind was so strong. The hands were both salvation and threat, holding her suspended between falling and safety. A voice said in her ear, the same voice from the darkness, rough and intimate and terrifying. You have to choose. Choose what? She gasped, rain streaming down her face, lightning illuminating the void before her. What you are, what you'll become, light or dark. Kenna, you have to choose. I don't understand. What do you mean? You will. The hands released her, and she fell from the mountainside. Maggie jerked awake with a scream lodged in her throat. Sorry. She was tangled in her sheets, her nightshirt soaked through with sweat, her hair plastered to her face and neck. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it might burst from her chest. For a moment, one horrible, disorienting moment, she didn't know where she was. She was at the foot of her bed, her head hanging down, blood rushing. Her heart hammered so hard, and then it came back to her. She felt Dune on her chest, purring. She was in Cherry Hill House, her bedroom, and it was real, and it was safe. She sat up gasping, and the medallion at her throat was so hot that it was burning her chest. Burning hot, almost painful against her skin. But it wasn't glowing. Not anymore. Dune moved and sat at the foot of the bed, his orange eyes fixed on her, his tail switching slowly, watching, always watching. It was just a dream, she whispered to him, her voice shaking. It was just a dream. But even as she said it, she knew that it was a lie. That hadn't been just a dream. That had been something else. Something more. A warning, a memory, a vision. She touched her lips, and she could still feel the phantom pressure of that kiss. could still feel the heat of those hands on her body, could still hear that voice whispering her true name in the darkness. Outside, dawn was breaking over Cherry Hill, but the storm still raged over the Black Pass. Thunder rumbling continuously, lightning flickering in the distance. And somewhere in those mountains, something was waiting for her to choose light or darkness. Maggie pulled the sweat-soaked sheets away from her and tried not to think about the fact that part of her, some deep, dark, terrifying part of her, had wanted to fall off that cliff, had wanted to surrender to whatever was calling her name in the darkness. She looked at Dune, and he looked back at her with those knowing orange eyes. "What's happening to me, boy?" she whispered. "I know you know something. You look at me as if you know something. Can you talk? Can you speak?" But Dune just looked at her. His eyes almost had a faint glow. The cat had no answers. But as lightning flashed outside her window, Maggie could swear she saw a figure standing by the tree line, watching Cherry Hill House, watching her. She closed her eyes and tried to breathe, tried not to remember how good those hands had felt in the darkness, tried not to wonder whose hands that they had been. Graham's hands? Or someone else's? The day dragged on with agonizing slowness. Maggie moved through Cherry Hill House like a ghost, unable to settle, unable to focus. Every room reminded her of something. Graham starting the fires, the apocryphy room where they talked, the stairs she climbed after pushing him away, and the dream. God, that dream. She couldn't shake it. Couldn't stop feeling those phantom hands on her body. Couldn't stop hearing that voice whisper, "Kenna," in the darkness. She berated herself yet again. What had she have been thinking? Sleeping with Graham when everything in her life was already so complicated, so messy. What was she thinking going out to the Black Pass alone, to that tree? All of it had been reckless and stupid, just like Chloe had said, just like Graham had said, just like Mary had said. She paced the parlor, Doom watching her from the couch with his patient orange eyes. "I'm an idiot," she told him. "You know that, right? Your owner is a complete and total idiot. Idiot, idiot, idiot." Doom blinked slowly but offered no judgment. The reminder hit her around mid-afternoon. She had no vehicle. Her Bronco. It was still parked at the Black Veil, where she'd lived before. Before everything. Before the tree, before Graham found her, before the storm. She needed that Bronco. Had to pick it up today because tomorrow she had to drive to Charlotte for the custody hearing. She had to face James and his lawyers and fight for her daughter. The daughter that she had given birth to. She had to fight to get her back. The thought made her stomach twist. Maggie blew out a long breath, running her hands through her red hair. Her phone rang, the phone cutting through the quiet house and making her jump. She grabbed it from the kitchen counter, glancing at the screen. It read, Inez Maxwell. Relief flooded through her so powerfully it almost made her knees weak. She answered immediately. Hey yourself. Inez's voice was warm, familiar, and grounding. You ready for a tomorrow chick flick? Inez had called it chick flick since they were in their college days, because every Friday night they would watch a chick flick. And it just ended up being an nickname for Maggie. No. Maggie sank into one of the kitchen chairs. Not even a little bit. Well, good thing you won't be doing it alone then. Maggie's breath caught. What? I'm driving up to Charlotte tomorrow morning. Meeting you at the courthouse at 8:30. You didn't think I was going to let you face that bastard James by yourself, did you? What kind of friend would I be? Tears sprang to Maggie's eyes. Nez, you don't have to do that. Yeah, I do. You're my girl, have been since college, and there's no way in hell I'm letting you walk in that courtroom alone. Inez's voice was firm, brooking no argument. Besides, I've been wanting to give James a piece of my mind for a long time now, and I fully intend on doing that tomorrow morning. A laugh escaped Maggie, watery but real. Thank you. God, Nez, thank you for being there with me. Don't thank me. Just be ready to fight for your daughter. He's hired the best divorce attorneys. You're stronger than you think, though, Mags. You always have been. Maggie pressed her hand over her mouth, trying to hold back the sob that was building in her chest. And after the hearing is over, Inez continued, I'm going to come up to Cherry Hill for a couple days. I'm going to see this mysterious mountain town you've been hiding out in and your handsome sheriff. I want to make sure that you're actually taking care of yourself. Nez, you don't have to do that. I want to. I miss you. And honestly, Inez paused, and something in that pause made Maggie tense. I've been worried about you. I'm fine. Mags, I know when you're fine, and I know when you're not fine. And you are sure as hell not fine right now. Inez's voice was gentle but knowing. You don't have to do that with me. You don't have to put up a wall. I can tell that you're not fine. I can't fully grasp what it is, but something is going on with you. Maggie's hand went unconsciously to the medallion at her throat. It's just everything. The custody hearing, James, being up here alone. She almost said Graham's name. Yeah, another pause. Grandma's been asking about you, actually. That stopped Maggie cold. Preacher? Yeah, I mentioned you'd moved to Cherry Hill. Told her a bit about your birth mother, and Inez trailed off. She's just been asking about you. That's all. But it wasn't all. Maggie could hear it in Inez's voice. Something unsaid, something held back. Inez came from the Gula people of the Low Country of South Carolina. And her grandmother, preacher, was not an actual preacher. But she knew things, saw things, and would tell people what she saw and what she felt. And the nickname preacher stuck. Inez had the sight to a certain extent, but not as strong as preacher did. What did she say? Maggie asked quietly. Nothing specific. You know how she is. Inez's tone was carefully casual. She just said to keep an eye out on you. Maggie wanted to push, wanted to ask more, but something told her that Inez wasn't going to share whatever preacher had told her. Not yet. Okay, Maggie said softly. Look, just focus on tomorrow, right? I'm gonna drive up. I'll be there early. We'll meet at the courthouse, and when it's done, I'll just follow you back here, okay? One thing at a time, Maggie. We'll deal with everything else after. We just want to work on you being able to see Curly. Okay. Get some rest tonight. You need to be sharp. James, it's going to come at you hard, Maggie Drake. But you're going to be ready, and I'm going to be right there beside you. I love you, Nez. I love you too, girl. We've got this. After they hung up, Maggie sat in the kitchen for a long moment, phone clutched in her hand. Inez was coming tomorrow. That was good. That was something. But Preacher had been asking about her, and she had met Preacher on several occasions back years ago. The pale blue eyes, the albino skin, the turban that she always wore on top of her head. But it was that knowing, raspy voice. She always warned Maggie, be careful. Be careful, little girl. The darkness is swirling around you. And when you least expect it, it's gonna grab you. Be quick. Be swift. Run away from it. Why had that came back to her so suddenly? She pushed it away. Inez was coming tomorrow. That was good. That was something. And Inez who came from the Gula people in the Low Country, whose grandmother had the sight, who could feel things herself, knew something. Inez was not telling Maggie everything. She was sensing something, but she wasn't saying what. She wasn't saying what. Let's take an intermission here and let you get a bite to eat and a drink. We'll come back in 10 minutes and continue with Cherry Hill. I will be right back. Hey, who's that girl? Hey, Pastelina. Those creepy dolls are eyeing you. Uh-oh. Hello, hello. Good to be back tonight. Oh, that's fabulous. Hello, Alexander. Hey, Raybab, if you haven't sent your daily heartbeat, now's the perfect time. Also, don't forget to send the popular. Thank you so much. Are we at 500 on the YE channel? Yeah, so I don't know why that the, I missed you. I missed you all. I just had to take that time, you know. Hey, Hobie Love, Little Butterfly. How are you? Missed you, Kelly. Missed you all, for sure. I did. But I'll be honest with you. I was not feeling myself. I was not feeling good at all. I have a goal. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I'm not able to do it. Because I was able to do it at one point, and now it's like I'm not. Yes, I was, Jackie. I sure was. It's like it just kind of rebounded on me. Hello over there in YE channel. Hello, Jelena Nicole. What a pretty name. Paula Cooper, thank you for the follow. To all my new night dwellers who have came in tonight, do you like scary stories? Oh, thank you for the kind compliments. Scared? Good. Then I'm achieving my purpose. Thank you. 501 on the Y channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so, so much. God loves you too. I'm seeing a lot of new names in here tonight. Welcome in. Can someone let me know when the 10 minutes is up? I've got to start putting an alarm. Hello, Turtle Woman. How are you? And if you like the chat that you've seen here, then you should join Discord. Because it just continues over there. 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. I finally found a chair that I absolutely love. And I am tickled pink. When I am in a level of comfort, it is a whole different situation for me. You love my laugh? Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. All right. I know, right, Raybab? Many, many, many chairs later. Let's start gathering back in. If you're looking for a good cup, this cup is absolutely amazing. I have had ice in this all day. I put it in at 6:30 a.m. this morning, and it is still icy cold. Great cup. Great, great, great cup. Oh, that's a good one, X. Are we ready to get back into story time? Let me see in the comments. Thank you all for the support. Thank you for the love tonight. Thank you so, so much. I am definitely feeling it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Lisa Brown. Thank you. Thank you, X. All right, here we go. What are you thinking about Cherry Hill tonight? Are you changing your mind about anything? Pamela, thank you for becoming a super fan. You know what? I've got to get a bell or something or a horn. I'll invest in one of those. You feel bad for Graham, Shirley? Well, let's get back into it, shall we? Ooh, Rebecca, you think a mimic is talking in Graham's voice? Wow. We will just have to wait and see. Oh, by the way, while I still am able to make the announcement, tomorrow night I am doing true crime over again, and it is going to be a story that has been in the headlines for the longest time, and I'm going to deliver it. Okay? Outside, the afternoon was fading into evening. Shadows lengthening across the property. She still needed to figure out how to get her Bronco from the Black Veil. Dune jumped down from the couch and padded over to her, pressing against her legs. Tomorrow she'd face James, and that thought terrified her. Inez had said that he had hired only the best divorce attorneys. Sure he had. She wouldn't put it past him to do something sneaky and underhanded to get full custody of Curly. The shadows lengthened across the room. Tomorrow she'd fight for Curly. And then Inez would come to Cherry Hill with her. And she looked forward to having her friend with her for a couple days. And maybe Inez would tell Maggie what Preacher had said about her, what she was sensing, what was happening. But for now, all Maggie could try to do was get through the rest of the afternoon and the night ahead. Late afternoon shadows stretched across Cherry Hill House as Maggie sat curled up on the couch, Dune pressed against her side. She'd been staring at the same page of a book for 20 minutes without reading a single word. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Graham. He sent a text. Please talk to me. She looked at it and then looked away. It buzzed again. Graham, I don't understand what happened. What did I do? She pulled a blanket over herself, burrowing deeper into the couch cushions. Another buzz. Graham. Maggie. Please. Then her phone rang. Graham's name lit up the screen. She watched it ring until it went to voicemail. 2 minutes later, it rang again. She let that one go to voicemail too. The text started coming faster. Graham, did I hurt you? Did I say something wrong? Graham, whatever it is, we can talk about it. Graham, just tell me what I did. I don't believe it's all over just a name. She turned the phone face down on the table and closed her eyes, trying to breathe through the lightness and the tightness in her chest. Dune lifted his head, his ears swiveling toward the window. A low rumble started in his throat. Then she heard it, the sound of tires on gravel, an engine approaching. Maggie sat up, her heart suddenly pounding. She moved to the window and looked out. A black Land Rover was coming up the driveway. It was Graham. Her body reacted before her mind could catch up. God, just the thought of him being so close to her. Her pulse quickening, heat flooding her cheeks, her breath coming faster, remembering him touching her, doing things to her. Even now, even after everything, just the sight of him as he got out of the Land Rover made her body respond in ways that she couldn't control. The Land Rover pulled to a stop in front of the house. Graham climbed out, his salt and pepper hair catching the late afternoon light, his blue-green eyes fixed on the house with an intensity that she could feel even from the window. He strode up onto the wraparound porch with purpose, his jaw set. The knock came, firm, insistent. Maggie stood frozen in the parlor, her hand pressed to her chest where her heart hammered against her ribs. Maggie! His voice came through the door, that gravelly Scottish burr. I know you're in there. Your Bronco's at the Black Veil. You need to go open it. Get it back down here before you leave in the morning. Open the door. She didn't move. Another knock. Harder this time. Maggie! Dune hissed from the couch, his tail lashing. Then Graham's fist hit the door. Not a knock anymore, but a pound that shook the frame. Maggie! I've come to take you to the Black Veil to recover your SUV. Open the damn door! She closed her eyes. Damn it. She did need the Bronco. Had to have it for the drive to Charlotte tomorrow morning. And she had no other way to get it. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Taking a deep breath, she crossed to the door and unlocked it, pulling it open. Graham stood on the porch, leaning against the railing, his eyes flashing, and the sight of him, broad shoulders filling out his jacket, those blue-green eyes intense and stormy, his chest rising and falling like he'd been running, hit her like a physical blow. Maggie. Relief flooded his features. But she stepped into the doorway, blocking his path into the house, one hand on the doorframe, the other on the door itself, a human barrier. His eyes narrowed slightly, registering the defensive posture. Are you really going to do this, lass? Do what? Can I come in? No. Something flickered across his face. Hurt, confusion, frustration, all mixing together. Maggie, if I said the name Kenna, I don't know why I did it, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What's going on with you, lass? Why won't you let me in your house? We just made love, for God's sake. Thank you. Thank you. I do need to get the Bronco. Thank you for offering to take me. Don't do that. His voice was tight. Don't act like we're strangers. Like the last 2 days didn't happen. Maggie's grip tightened on the door frame. I'm not. What did I do wrong? The words burst out of him raw and demanding. Because I thought what we did was a good thing. I thought we connected. I thought. He ran a hand through his hair, agitation clear in every line of his body. And then this morning, you barely looked at me. You wouldn't talk to me. And now you won't even let me in your house. Graham, no. He stepped closer and she had to force herself not to step back. I deserve to know what happened. It's not just the Kenna thing. It's something else. What changed between last night and this morning? Maggie, tell me everything. His blue-green eyes searched her face and she could see the genuine confusion there, the hurt. He really didn't know. He didn't remember. It frightened me. When you said Kenna, it frightened me because I've been having these nightmares. No. I've been having this dream. I'm in the dark and there's a man and he calls me Kenna. The kids call me Kenna. The mountain calls me Kenna. Someone is standing in the shadows, covered in a cloak, completely hidden, and calls me Kenna. You called me Kenna, Graham. And it scared me. I told you this morning, lass. I don't know that name. I don't know why I would have. He stopped. Something shifting in his expression. It's a beautiful name. She nodded slowly. And you never told me that name. No. I've never told anyone in Cherry Hill my name. He stared at her for a long moment, and she could see him working through it, trying to make sense of it. Then how would I? His voice dropped. Jesus. You think I'm lying to you? I don't know what to think, Graham. Maggie. He reached for her, but she flinched back. The hurt that flashed across his face was immediate and visceral. I am swearing to you. I don't remember saying it. I would never call out another woman's name. His hands clenched into fists at his sides. I don't know how I knew that name, but I'm telling you the truth. The medallion was warm against her chest. Not burning like before, but present, aware. I believe you don't remember, she said carefully. But that doesn't change the fact that you said it. And I need to figure out why. I need to figure out what's happening to me. Then let me help you. No. The word came out sharper than she intended. No, Graham, I need to do this on my own. I need space. She pressed her hand to her forehead. I need to think. He stood there on the porch, looking at her with those bedroom eyes that had undone her so completely last night. And she could see him warring with himself, wanting to push, wanting to demand answers, wanting to pull her into his arms. But instead, he took a step back. "All right, lass," he said quietly, his accent thick. "I'll give you space, but I'm still taking you to get your Bronco. You need it for tomorrow." "Graham, I'm not arguing about this, Maggie. You need your vehicle, damn it. And I'm the only one who can get you to it right now. So you either accept my help, or you can try to figure out another way to get there before dark." His jaw was set and stubborn. "Your choice." She looked at him. This man who'd made her feel safe, who'd made her feel desired, who'd whispered her secret name in the darkness without knowing why, and felt her resolve crack. "Okay," she said softly. "Give me 5 minutes to get ready." He nodded once, sharp and controlled. "I'll wait in the Land Rover." Maggie watched him walk back to his vehicle, his shoulders tight with tension. Then she closed the door and leaned against it, her eyes squeezed shut. "What am I doing?" she whispered to the empty house. Dune appeared at her feet, winding around her ankles, purring softly. She had to get her Bronco, had to get to Charlotte tomorrow, had to fight for Curly. And that meant spending the next hour in Graham Sinclair's Land Rover, trying not to think about how much she wanted him, despite everything. Trying not to wonder how he'd known her name. Trying not to feel the pull between them that, in all honesty, had not lessened one little bit, even with all the confusion and the fear and the mistrust. She grabbed her jacket and her keys, gave Dune one last scratch behind the ears, and headed out to face whatever came next. The sexual tension in the black Land Rover was suffocating. Maggie sat in the passenger seat, her body angled slightly toward the door, trying to maintain some distance. But she was hyper-aware of everything concerning Graham. Graham's large hands on the steering wheel, the way his jaw clenched, the breadth of his shoulders filling the driver's seat. At 6'4", he dominated the space effortlessly. She was 5'9", not a small woman by any means, but next to him she felt small, protected, desired in a way that made her pulse race. Graham tried to engage her. "How was your day?" "Fine." The word hung between them as they began climbing toward the Black Pass. Thunder rumbled in the distance, continuous and ominous. "Connor misses you," Graham said, his Scottish burr low. Maggie's head turned sharply, her green eyes finding his profile. She was quiet for a long moment, then suddenly the words burst out. "I knew his name." Her voice was strained. She looked out the window. "Before you ever told me, I knew your dog's name." Graham's hands tightened on the wheel, but he said nothing. He just listened. The silence was heavy. She could feel the pressure building inside her, all the confusion, all the fear. "I don't know what's happening to me, Graham," she continued, her voice cracking. "This medallion, look at it. It's glowing. It gets hot, and I don't understand what it means. And the Black Pass, it's calling to me. I can hear something, children's voices maybe, and then a man, but is pulling at me, and I don't know why. She turned to look at him fully now, desperation in her eyes. I told no one that my given name by Aileen McLoy was Kenna. No one, Graham. At least I don't think I mentioned it to you, but maybe I did. I don't know. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand the circle. Graham's eyebrows raised. Or Chloe. Or those evil women who came into the shop and threatened me like they wanted to kill me that night. I don't understand any of it. I don't understand Chloe telling me that I'm going toward the darkness. What does that mean? His jaw clenched tighter, but still, he just drove, letting her speak. And I'm scared, she whispered. I'm scared I'm gonna lose my daughter. I'm scared I'm gonna lose my mom. I don't know what my birth mother was, but she wasn't normal. The admission felt dangerous, especially to this man that she'd only known such a short time. I'm so scared, Graham. He looked over at her then, and the intensity in his blue-green eyes made her breath catch. Raw, hungry, certain. But he said nothing, just turned his attention back to the road. So you're ignoring me now, too? Well, I guess I'll tell you all of it. I'm scared the attacker's gonna come back and get me. I'm scared he's gonna hurt my daughter. He burned my house down. I know he did it. I'm scared I'm gonna lose Curly. I don't know why I'm going, because James is gonna win. Still, he said nothing, just turned his attention back to the road. They drove the rest of the way in charged silence. When they finally reached the Black Veil, the waterfall cascading down the mountainside in the fading light, her Bronco sat alone in the clearing. Graham pulled the Land Rover up beside it and put it in park. Maggie didn't wait. She grabbed the door handle and threw it open, slamming it behind her hard enough to make the vehicle shake. She strode toward her Bronco, needing air, needing space, needing... The tears fell hotly down her cheeks. Maggie! His voice stopped her. She heard his door open, heard his boots hit the gravel. Thank you for the ride, Graham, she said without turning around. I've got it from here. Heavy footsteps behind her, coming closer. Maggie! I said I've got... His hand closed around her wrist, spinning her to face him. Graham, don't! He pulled her against him and kissed her. Hard, fierce, a claiming that stole the breath from her lungs. Maggie gasped and his tongue swept into her mouth, tasting her, possessing her. One arm banded around her waist, crushing her against his solid body, and she could feel every hard plane of him, the controlled power barely leashed. She should push him away, should tell him to stop, but her hands fisted in his jacket instead, pulling him closer, kissing him back with equal desperation. When he finally broke the kiss, both of them breathing hard, he stared down at her. All of his masculinity, all of his intensity, looking at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered to him at that moment. His voice was gruff. Tell me no, he said, his voice a low growl. Tell me no, right here, and I'll take you to your Bronco, and I'll drive away, and I will never have another thing to do with you, lass. She opened her mouth. She tried to tell him that very thing, but nothing came out. A slow, predatory smile curved his lips. That's what I thought. In one swift movement, he bent and scooped her up into his arms, cradling her against his chest. Wrap your legs around me, lass, he commanded, and hold on. Maggie's arms went around his neck, her legs wrapping around his waist as he turned toward the small rest area building. His stride was powerful, purposeful, a man carrying his woman with absolute certainty. She buried her face in his neck, breathing him in. God, she wanted him. Her hand slid into his hair as he carried her, her body pressed tight against his. He pushed the door open with his shoulder, checked the space was empty, and then stepped inside. The lock clicked behind them. Now, he said, and backed her against the wall. His hands found the hem of her red sweater and jerked it up and over her head in one swift motion. Her hair tumbled around her shoulders as he tossed it aside. Graham's eyes traveled over her, and his jaw clenched at the sight of her black bra against her pale skin. He pulled his own shirt over his head, revealing broad shoulders that tapered to a lean waist, defined muscles that came from real work rather than a gym. Tall, powerful, the kind of man who could lift her effortlessly and make her feel protected. I need to feel you, he said, his voice rough. His hand slid around to the clasp of her bra. It fell away, and then they were skin to skin, bare chest to bare chest. Maggie's hands were everywhere, desperate for the feel of him. She slid her palms over his chest, his shoulders, down his back, feeling every hard plane of muscle. She craved his skin, needed to touch him, wanted to bury herself inside of him, because there she felt safe. She buried her face against his neck, kissing him there, tasting salt and heat. God, Maggie, he breathed, his own hands roaming over her bare skin. His mouth traced hot kisses down her throat, across her collarbone, lowered to the swell of her breast. You're so beautiful. The medallion lay warm between them, a light amber, as their bodies came together, and Maggie wrapped her legs tighter around his waist, gasping as he claimed her completely. Look at me, he commanded. I want to see those green eyes. She met his gaze, and she was lost in the blue-green depths as he moved with her, primal, powerful, completely in control. And then he said in a low, husky tone, You're mine, Maggie Drake, he said. I want you more than I've ever wanted anything in my life. Her nails dug into his shoulders, her head falling back. Look at me, he growled, and her eyes snapped back to his. When release finally crashed through her, she cried his name, and he followed moments later with a groan, his body powerful and sure. They stayed like that for a long moment, breathing hard. Then he slowly lowered her to the ground, one arm around her waist to steady her. His hand came up to cup her face. What we just did, his thumb brushed her swollen lips. That was me claiming you. A slight smile curved his mouth. Maggie's heart jumped in response. No man had ever said that to her, that he was claiming her. It was raw, primal, not to mention sexy as hell. The certainty in his voice, the possessiveness, it made her feel wanted in a way that she'd never experienced it. He kissed her again, slow and deep, and she felt it everywhere. This man made her feel so very beautiful, so very wanted. They dressed in comfortable silence, and he let her out, his hand warm in hers. At her Bronco, he turned her to face him. "I could follow you home," he said. Maggie let out a soft chuckle. "And we know how that would go. I would not get any rest." He smiled slightly, then cupped her face and kissed her, strong, possessive, certain. "I'll see you when I return," he said simply. Then he kissed her again, deeper this time, taking his time. When he released her, Maggie climbed into her Bronco on shaky legs, and as she pulled away, she looked into the rearview mirror. Graham stood watching her, arms crossed over his broad chest, raw masculine confidence in every line of his body. A shiver ran through her. She drove down the mountain. She was counting the hours until she'd see him again. The drive back to Cherry Hill House felt surreal. Maggie's hands gripped the steering wheel of her Bronco, but her mind was still at the Black Veil, still feeling Graham's body pressed against hers, still hearing his voice rub with need, still seeing the look in his eyes when he said, "I've claimed you." Without thinking, her fingers came up to touch her lips. They were swollen, tender from his kisses. The simple touch sent heat flooding through her body, and she felt her cheeks burn hot. She remembered the way that they had moved together, primal and desperate and so intense that it had bordered on overwhelming. The way it looked at her like she was everything. The way she'd fallen apart in his arms. "God," she whispered to the empty Bronco and pressed her fingers harder against her lips as if she could still taste him there. The medallion lay warm against her chest, a constant reminder of everything strange and unexplainable that was happening to her. But for just this drive, she let herself think only of Graham. He was behind her for the longest time, and then he took a turn on another road, and she felt very alone. She thought of the connection between them that she didn't understand, but she couldn't deny. By the time she pulled up to Cherry Hill House, it was dark. Just a little bit of the sun shone through, which was very unusual, but it was in shades of pink and gold. The white farmhouse looked peaceful in the evening light, almost welcome. The moment she opened the front door, Doom was there, meowing loudly, insistently winding around her ankles with his tail straight up. "I know, boy, I know." Maggie dropped to her knees and pulled the massive orange cat into her arms, burying her face in his soft fur. "I'm sorry. I'm here now. You're still my number one man." Doom purred loudly, pressing his head against her chest, and she felt the connection between them thrumming. That bond that she only was beginning to understand. He'd been worried. He had felt her distress, her confusion, her fear. "We're going to be okay," she whispered to him. "We're going to be okay." But even as she said it, she wasn't sure that she believed it. After feeding Dune and making sure he had fresh water, Maggie headed upstairs. She needed a shower, needed to wash away the day, to clear her head. Tomorrow, the custody hearing, facing James. The hot water felt good against her skin, sluicing away the tension in her muscles. She stayed under the spray longer than she needed to, trying to prepare herself mentally for what was coming. When she finally stepped out and wrapped herself in a towel, she moved to her bedroom and opened the closet. What did one wear to fight for their child? She settled on a navy blue dress, professional but not severe, fitted but not too tight, conservative heels, simple jewelry, nothing flashy. She laid it all out on the chair, along with her undergarments and the jacket she'd worn over it. The sight of it all made her stomach twist. Tomorrow she'd see Inez. That was good. That would help. Tomorrow she'd see Curly, her baby girl, her daughter. But she didn't know for how long. God, she missed Curly so much that it was a physical ache. Mr. Laugh, her smile, the way she'd crawl into Maggie's lap and demand stories at bedtime. She prayed to God that James had not poisoned her and her daughter's relationship. But who knows? Maybe something would go right. Maybe the judge would see through James' lies. Maybe. Maggie moved to the bathroom to brush her teeth, trying to quiet the anxious thoughts spiraling through her mind. She was strong. She could do this. She would do this for Curly. After brushing her teeth, she walked over to the window by the sink, the one that looked out over the property toward the tree line, and beyond that the ridge, and beyond that the Black Pass. The one with the view of the Black Pass in the distance. And that's when she saw it. A figure, tall, imposing, standing at the edge of the property in a black cloak, just where the grass met the trees, completely cloaked in black from head to foot. A hood pulled low over the face, so low that she couldn't see any features, just shadow where a face should be. And it looked directly at her, watching. Maggie gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. She scrambled for the light switch, slapping it off, plunging the bathroom into darkness. Her heart hammered against her ribs so hard that it hurt. She pressed herself against the wall beside the window, breathing in short, panicked gasps. Her hands came up to clutch the medallion at her chest. It was warm, pulsating white fire against her palm. Slowly, carefully, she peeked around the edge of the window frame. The figure was still there, but he was closer. Still standing, still watching. The hood turned slightly, as if tracking her movement even in the darkness. A whimper escaped Maggie's throat. Her legs gave out and she sank to the floor, her back against the wall, her heart beating so rapidly she thought it might burst. And then she heard it in her mind. Get up. No, she whispered. No, 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 no. Get up. She didn't know how long she sat there. Minutes, hours. Time seemed to stretch and compress. But when she finally gathered the courage to look again, the figure was gone. Just empty grass and trees and the encroaching night. But she knew what she'd seen. Something, someone was watching Cherry Hill House, was watching her. Sleep, when it finally came that night, brought no relief. The dreams crashed over in waves, mixing and blending until she couldn't tell what was real and what wasn't. The first dream was Graham, his hands on her body, his mouth hot against her neck. Maggie, he breathed, and she was arching into him, needing and wanting him. The intensity of it was overwhelming. His blue-green eyes locked on hers, and he whispered, "I'm falling for you, lass. I'm falling for you." But then the dream shifted and twisted. A man in the darkness. Not Graham. Someone else. Taller. Different. She couldn't tell. His voice called to her. The black past rising before her, massive, ancient, full of secrets and shadows. Thunder rolling continuously, never stopping. The sound vibrating in her bones. Children's voices, high and frightened, calling out, "Kenna, help us. Kenna, please. Kenna, don't leave us." She was running through trees, branches tearing at her clothes, at her skin. She was back in the long black gown off the shoulder, heavy and old and clinging to her legs. And then she was at the edge, the precipice, the cliff that dropped away into nothing. She stood there listening, teetering, her toes at the very edge. One more step, and she would fall, would plummet down into that dark void. Behind her, footsteps heavy and purposeful. "Choose, Kenna," a voice said, deep, commanding. "Light or dark. You have to choose." "I don't understand," she screamed into the wind. "You will." Hands on her shoulders, pushing, pulling. She couldn't tell. And then she was falling. Maggie jerked awake with a gasp, her body bolting upright in bed. She was drenched in sweat. Her nightshirt clung to her skin, her hair plastered to her face and neck, her heart pounding violently, and she couldn't catch her breath. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Then it came back to her. Cherry Hill House, her bedroom, real. She wasn't in bed, though. She was on the floor. She didn't feel safe. She pressed her hand to her chest, trying to steady herself, and froze. The medallion was glowing, white, fire. Not just warm this time, actually glowing. A white, pulsating light. From the very center of the stone, in rhythm with her racing heartbeat, illuminating her hand, the walls, casting strange shadows. "What?" Her voice came out as a croak. Doom was at the foot of the bed, sitting up, his orange eyes fixed on the medallion. His ears were forward, alert, and he made a low, rumbling sound that was almost like a growl. Maggie stared at the glowing pendant, transfixed and terrified. And then, as suddenly as it had started, the light faded. The glow dimmed, flickered, and went out, leaving only the warm weight of the metal, against her skin. The room fell into darkness again, lit only by the faint moonlight filtering through the window. Maggie rose up and sat on the edge of the bed, trembling, trying to understand what was happening to her. The dreams, the medallion, the figure watching her house, Graham saying her secret name, knowing Connor's name before she was told. It was all connected. Had to be, but she didn't understand how or why. She glanced at the clock on the nightstand. 3:47 a.m. In a few hours, she'd have to get up, get dressed, drive to Charlotte, face James, fight Curly. But right now, sitting in the darkness with Dune's eyes glowing at her, and the memory of that cloaked figure burning in her mind, Maggie had never felt more lost, or more alone, or more terrified of what she was becoming. She lay back down, pulling Dune close to her, feeling his warmth, his solid presence. And he pulled away. His ears were still pinned back, and his eyes glowed. Outside, thunder rumbled over the dark pass, continuous, never-ending. And somewhere in that darkness, something was calling her name, waiting for her to choose, waiting for her to come home. I hope that you have enjoyed Cherry Hill tonight. It has been a pleasure being back with you tonight. Being back with my friends. Being back with my darklings. My stories burrow deep where they cannot flee. And in the darkest corridors of your nightmares, you belong. To me. You do. Pleasant dreams. Good night, White Channel.